Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. Myself, Deepika, Assistant Professor and Coordinator of this event, and it's my privilege and pleasure to invite you all for this webinar on today's opportunity for tomorrow's technology, a perspective conducted by KIT-Kalaignarkarunanidhi. I wholeheartedly thanking our management, principal, vice principal, deans and HODs of various departments for giving us an opportunity for conducting this event. I welcome our Dean KIT-Kalaignarkarunanidhi, Dr. K. Mahalakshmi, to introduce our guest.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's really happy to introduce our guest for the day, Mr. John Irudayaraj. He's a managing director at Fidius and heads the industrial and automotive practice. He is a trusted advisor in building C-level team compositions with organizations across sectors, particularly engineering, automotive, and manufacturing. And with nearly 2 decades of market experience serving clients in the talent management space. Prior to Fides, John was with TransSearch based in Bangalore as a senior partner of automotive and manufacturing practice for India office. He was instrumental in setting up the Bangalore office for TransSearch and spent around 9+ years advising the clients. He started his journey into the leadership hiring space with ABC Consultants. Prior to executive search in the early part of his career, John worked in the industrial engineering functions with companies like FS Smith, Timex Watches, and Mindasai Groups. In addition to it, John also had a brief association as a functional consultant with IITN.com, which was building the community portal for IIT graduates. John holds a bachelor degree in production engineering from PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore. I'm very happy to have John with you now, and let us have the session over to Mr. John.
Thank you, Mahalakshmi. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Well, friends, let me take you through a quick presentation. And my presentation will be of two parts to it. One is on the soft skills and the other is on the hard skills with respect to the opportunities in today's context, keeping in mind with tomorrow's technology. Before we get into this, I just want to quickly introduce my firm, Fidius Advisory. It was started in the year 2017. It was started by three people, me, my other partners, Anuj Roy and Manav Das. And Anuj takes care of the digital and the technology practice, Manav takes care of the analytics and data science, and I per se focus on the industrial for the firm. We are a team of around 20 consultants spread across Chennai, Bangalore, Mumbai, and Delhi. While we are headquartered as Delhi, we work across the other regions also. Our focus areas are always been industrial, digital, technology, analytics, and data science, and the global sales for US and Europe. The word Fidius came from the Roman word, which means trust, trust and good faith. So we aim to be the trusted partner for our clients and candidates. That's a brief intro about our firm. Mahalakshmi has already covered very magnanimously about my intro, so we'll skip this part. We'll get into this topic, today's topic of opportunities for tomorrow's technology. It's my perspective, having been in this industry for the last 2 decades, I just thought I should share some of the insights into it, especially in today's context, what's happening and how do we align ourselves to it. And I really want to thank Kalaignarkarunanidhi Institute of Technology for giving me this platform to express my views on this. As I told you in the start, my speech is going to be on two parts. One is on the soft skills soft skill, and the second one is on the hard skills, which means the domains that are in demand today. Soft skills is nothing but what is there to your DNA of your system, something connected to your heart. And the hard skills is something connected to your mind. And one cannot exist without the other. So it has to work in tandem and it has to be aligned appropriately. So here we go. On the soft skills, the first, I would like to start this session with a sentence, very powerful sentence. Change is the only permanent thing in this world. And I'm sure we are all going through this every day. What was yesterday, today is no more relevant. That is the pace in which the change is happening. And whether we want it or not, we cannot avoid this. We have to embrace this. Today, the race is not for the swift or for the fastest or for the strongest, but to one who is agile in nature, one who can adapt to the changing environment, one who can constantly learn, unlearn, and relearn. So this is what the way the world is going around. I'm sure we know a few examples, which has failed because they couldn't adapt to the change. One such instance is Nokia as a company. Maybe 15, 20 years ago, Nokia was one of the, branded mobiles of the country and the globe. But where is it today? Because the change happened so fast, they couldn't catch up with it. So in order to survive, I don't think we can avoid these things. And also, in terms of talent, when it comes to the talent, the upskilling matters. So we have to constantly upskill ourselves. We cannot sit and relax that today, yes, I've done, this is what I've learned. That's the end to it. No, we have to continuously, consistently keep ourselves updated, upskill ourselves in order to survive in this current situation. And below that, on the soft skills side, the way I would see it is there are 4 points are there. First one is find your trigger. What I mean by this is everybody is unique in this world. Everybody have their own strengths to play. What works for me doesn't work for others. It doesn't mean that it has to work for others. I find recruitment or search industry is exciting. Yeah. But even that, I stepped by chance, not out of choice, I got into it. But once I found myself there, once my personal attributes aligned with my interest, then there's no looking back at all. Then it's only a fun ride. You'll start enjoying it. So you need to find the trigger. Not everybody, gets into it. There are times where people spend their entire career without, doing what they actually like. The sooner you find your trigger, find what really excites you, the better it is. And in today's context, I'm really surprised to see some of the kids, say 10th standard kids, they are so clear, they already found out what they want to do. So it's like, I was having a discussion with one of the 10th standard kid, and the kid was telling me, Uncle, I want to become an investment banker. I was really surprised. Someone who can think through to this extent, because the knowledge is available everywhere, and that kid has gone to that extent. What all should he do to become an investment banker? Which college to go? Which course to take? What kind of jobs are available? What kind of money one can make? So someone who's found that what works for him. Same way, it's also about, it's not that one person can do everything. Yeah. It's about identifying and understanding what are your strengths are. Some will be good as an extrovert, connecting with the people, and you cannot ask them to do an R&D job, confined to four walls. He'll be a complete misfit in that. But sometimes we are forced to take certain decisions for whatever reasons, maybe pressure under family or your curriculum is like that. The first job you take in a campus interview, then you cannot change that. So this is the time because there are loads of opportunities, unlike it was 20 years ago when we started our career. When we started our career, it was like only there are only 4 or 5 disciplines were there, either engineer or medicine or a lawyer or a teaching or a government job or something like that. But today, it is completely driven. Your passion determines your profession. Actually, you can create your profession through your passion to that extent. Sometimes being in this field, it gives me great opportunity to interact with so many people and so many views. Surprised to know there are careers like scuba diving trainer after you finish your college. People get into that. This role was never heard of before in the past, but there's a space for everyone in this. It's extremely important for you to find what it is that you want and align with that. If you're good in numbers, become a financial person. If you're good in creativity, get into that. You know, so there are wide opportunities for this. Now, the next one is what's happening in today's context because we are the first time feelers of the market. We interact with the clients on a day-to-day basis. There was a time when people talk about leadership hiring, these CEOs, how many years of experience, 20 years of experience in such and such companies. I've studied from here, all this stuff. But today, there's a paradigm shift in this understanding. Today, what's happening is we rename that as a strategic hiring. People don't want to know how many years of experience you have, what you do, what you have done in the past, nothing. Today, they only ask, can you solve a problem, our problem? Yeah. It doesn't matter whether you have 2 years experience or you have 20 years experience, as long as you can solve a problem. I really want to share this experience. A year back, there was a company called Detect Technologies. I'm so used to present myself professionally. We've met so many clients working with companies like JCB or a Mahindra or a Ford or Ashok Leyland. We always see people with gray hair as my client or at least of equal age, all the stuff. And to my surprise, the meeting was held at IIT Chennai, and my client was a third-year student. Yeah, third-year mechanical engineering student who has developed a drone to identify the gas leaks for the oil and gas sectors. And his model was bought by a giant company by name Schlumberger for a 60 crores, and he was hiring people for himself, and he wanted to meet me. So can we ever imagine a situation like this? A third-year student who has not even passed out from the college is a client of mine. He has created a company. And so it doesn't matter where you are, what you do, all this. So here we call these things as strategic hiring. So the world is changing now. So we have to change accordingly. And there are numerous examples are there like that, like the Flipkarts of the world or Ola, Oyo, you name any of these startups, their entire promoters would be less than 30 years today's context. Yeah. So that is where we are doing it. Even the candidates will also ask the same question. Whenever they go to a client, they only ask, define the problem statement and let me see whether I can do it. Yeah. And gone are those days that, I have to work for 30 years, retire, and then today you work for 5 years and take a yearly retirement. So take a sabbatical. It's more of become an experiential economy. The world's changing too fast, and we need to be aware of this and align ourselves. The next one is collaborative approach. There was a time when, in our days, we used to be very competitive. Now, today, the word competitive doesn't exist at all. Today, it's become collaborative because one is there's no point in competing with anything because everybody are unique in our own selves. So when the starting point is not the same, then against whom are we going to compete with? We can only compete with ourselves. And we cannot be a standalone in today's context. Today, if you look at Ola Cabs as a company, it is an internet company. I don't know how many people know its name of the firm is ANI Technologies. Ola is only a brand name. Yeah. It's an internet company which doesn't own any cars at all, but it's the largest fleet provider in the country. And it aligns itself with an automotive sector because it deals with the fleets, cars. It buys car. It's associated with companies like Mahindra and Mahindra for the Ola Electric, and it also uses technology, app-driven technology for the consumers. So it's a collaborative working, and that has created another opportunity, another industry on its own. Same way it goes with Industry 4.0 we talk about today's context. So what's all about this? While it's a shop floor environment, a plant, a machine talking to another machine, it's a mechanical component. It's a cyber physical system. It uses data science, real-time data. It uses sensors from the electronic industry to communicate from a machine to machine. On top of that, it uses technology, IT driven, yeah, to analyze and update us on all the what if analysis. So that comprises of Industry 4.0. So it's a collaborative approach. It's no more that specific discipline or anything. I just want to take you through a short story which we all know, you know, to emphasize more on what a collaborative approach can can result in. I'm sure we all heard the story of the hare and the tortoise. The first thing is hare knows that it's the fastest. They both start the race, and at one point of time, the hare thinks that it's going to easily win and takes a short nap, and the tortoise wins. And the moral of the story we heard was slow and steady wins the race. But the story doesn't end there. There's an addition to it. The hare was feeling very bad, so it went to the tortoise again and said, "Can we have the race again?" So the tortoise on the other end was little, you know, the pride sets in, the success gets into its head and says, "Yeah, no problem, anytime you say." So they have the race, but this time the hare was very conscious about it. It doesn't want to, lose. So from the start, it just finished it in no time at a miraculous speed, and it's a huge difference, huge margin. It won the hare, tortoise. So the moral of the story is, it changed from a slow and steady to win the race to fast and steady wins the race. The story doesn't end here. Now the tortoise was feeling very bad and was contemplating how on earth to win this hare. It knows its weakness and it also knows its strength. So the tortoise again goes to the hare and says, "Can we have the race again? But with only one condition, the route in which I decide to have the race." The hare was laughing at it, at the tortoise, and said, any route you take, that's fine. Let's start. So they have the race. But this time what happened? The tortoise was so clever, it played it to its strengths. It understood its strengths. It set up a route in such a way, just before the finish line, there is a pond where the hare cannot swim. So what happens? The tortoise again wins. So the moral of the story is, if you play to your strength, you can always win. Yeah. So by this time, what happens is the tortoise and the hare has become friends. So they said, why don't we collaborate and do the same race again? Let's see what will be the result to it. So the next race is, in the land, what happens is the hare carries the tortoise on its back and runs as fast as it can, because that is what its strengths are. In the next phase, the tortoise carries the hare and crosses the pond, because that is where the tortoise strengths were collaborated together to create the world record. So that is what collaboration can bring to the table. Yeah. Better. So now going back to the next one, the world is moving towards specialization. There was a time, maybe A few years ago, it was all generalist hospitals or anything was general, generalized. Even our own disciplines where you do one engineering degree and you can work in anything, and that's how the career goes through. But today, I don't think it suffices. The world is moving from a generalization to a specialization, and furthermore to a super specialization. I'm sure that there are so many examples are there, but again, I want to drive this point in the form of a story, which it's a good way to narrate and get this point across. Story goes like this. It's a judo story. There are so many takeaways in the story, so much to learn from the story. The story goes like this. There was a Taiwanese family. A couple had a young boy, a son. It was so unfortunate that he was born handicapped and he had only one hand. So he doesn't have left hand with him. As the boy was growing, when he was 3 years, 4 years old, he got interested in, in the sport called judo. So as he was growing, he was very determined that he wants to learn judo. So he goes and asks his dad, "Dad, I want to learn judo." His dad was feeling very uncomfortable to tell him that, "Son, look, while I understand that you are interested in this judo as a sport, but this may not be the appropriate one for you because there is a physical liability. You will not be, this specific sport needs two hands. You cannot play the sport with one hand." But the boy is very insisting, like is very determined that he will learn the sport. So every year he keeps asking his dad, "I want to learn this." So finally the dad gives up when he was 8 years old. So dad sets out to find a teacher for it. So he goes all across the town to find a teacher for that, but nobody would take a physically handicapped person for a sport of this kind. Nobody would like to take a chance with it. So not a single teacher was ready to take this kid as a student. So they were so exhausted, desperate, and didn't know what to do. But they didn't give up hope and they still kept on trying until one teacher accepted to take him as a student. That is when things started changing in life. The boy was so excited. He was so happy to join the first class. So he joined the class, and there in that environment, teachers are valued more than the parents itself. So much of respect was given to them, and they obey them, strictly to whatever the teacher says. So the first class, the teacher taught him one move and asked him to practice. The boy was very happy, he practiced. So every day, the first 3 weeks went, the boy practicing the same one move. While the other friends of his, other people who joined along with him, they're all normal people. Only this boy is special. He doesn't have one hand, and on top of that, he's learning judo as a sport. All the other students have crossed from more than one moves to 10, 12, 13 moves. The boy was feeling little bad about why is it only I have to do only one move while others are all doing that. Why is the teacher not teaching me anything else? But at the same time, we cannot question the teacher. The teacher said, "Come after 3 months. I have taught you what I had to teach you, but practice this every day and come and show me after 3 months." So the boy was happy because he got to learn his favorite sport, and he practices so hard that nobody can beat him on that one particular move. And after 3 months, the boy comes and shows to the teacher what he has practiced. The teacher was happy with him. And after that, the boy is asking, "Can I learn something more? Or what's next?" The teacher says, "There is a judo competition which is happening in this country right now. Why don't you go give your name for this, the juniors judo championship?" The boy was very surprised and startled because one is he knows his physical disability. Second is he knows only one move. But yes, of course, he has practiced a lot. He knows that he does it well. How on earth is he going to participate? So he asked the teacher, "Are you sure that you want me to participate in this?" The teacher was very particular. He said, "Go fill your form and give your name." So the boy does it. He has to obey the teacher. And within a week, the competition commences where people all across the globe has come there. And there are, in a tournament like this where there are lots of rounds are there and before coming to a quarterfinal or a semi-final and finals. And to his surprise, the first round, this boy actually wins the competition. And he himself couldn't believe it, but then he told himself, maybe because the opponent is very weak, or maybe it is by chance, by luck, he won. And then it so happened to this second round, third round, and finally he lands the quarterfinal. By this time, the media has arrived and it's become the talk of the town that a one-hand boy is a new, a judo face. So his parents were also happy, but at the same time, they were also concerned because this is a sport of, sometimes it can be uh, very dangerous also, So the father goes to the teacher and asks, "Do you think that we should withdraw the boy right now itself? Because as it gets to the higher levels, like quarterfinals, the competition gets stiffer." So he was concerned. But teacher was very calm and composed. He said, "No, he has not lost. Till he loses, he will fight and he will play." So the quarterfinals also, this boy wins, and to the semifinals. And finally, we land at the finals, where the opponent is a seven-time championship winner who holds the world record. And everybody were concerned about it. Even the media, everybody came and asked the teacher, I don't think this boy should go for this game, the final round. That's okay to lose, but the teacher was insisting this boy will go to the final round. And the match started. It became a very tough match. And the first half, the boy was beaten black and blue, but he still not lost it. And even during half time, everybody came and begged to the teacher that let us withdraw him. You know, so I don't want to see my son, crying out of pain, or I don't want to lose him. But the teacher didn't give up at all. The teacher said, he has still not lost it. Let him continue. So finally, it so happens that at the end of the game, end of this competition, the boy wins. There's a jubilation, there's a celebration, everybody are happy, parents were happy, the whole industry, whole town was talking about him, the kid was happy. But one question always remained to the kid: how did he win? He himself doesn't know, because all he knows is that only one move which the teacher taught and he practiced it. That is all he knows. But he's sure that his teacher would know. So he goes to his master and asks him, after 2 3 days, "Master, while I'm very happy that I got my name, fame, everything, but please tell me, how did I really win this match?" And for this, the teacher says, "My boy, you learn only one move, but in one move you practice for so long, you became an expert. The only way the other person can win you is by pulling your other hand. But fortunately, here you don't have the other hand. That is your strength. And I taught you such a move in such a way that nobody can win you. That is why I was so confident. Despite all your physical weaknesses, despite all your challenges you have, but if you're good in one particular thing, you are the winner." That is what you prove to the world. So this is the story. Now, coming to, there are lots of things that we want to take away from the story. What are the things actually needs for a successful journey or for a career or anything to be successful? First thing is aptitude. What I mean by aptitude is nothing but interest plus competence. And interest is not ordinary interest, it's burning interest, which will not, which will keep you restless, that kind of an interest, which will be driven It is not through someone else telling you, or you don't do it for others, because comes from inside. That is aptitude. The boy had that interest in him. From childhood, you wanted to do the sport, and he was ready to do anything for that. He demanded that. That's the burning interest he had. Second is the opportunity. Yes, we all have lots of strengths and we have our own competence, but sometimes we feel that we don't have the right opportunity. We can also say the boy was lucky to get a teacher like that or something. But there's also saying, the more you think, the more you want it, the more you desire for it, you will get it. The universe will respond to you. There's no way that you don't get it. There's also saying, when the student is ready, the teacher arrives. It's a very beautiful statement, and I've experienced it practically, so I can tell you with conviction, it works. So, fortune favors the brave. You take one step, take the first step, it will come. The third is hard work, and there is no substitute for hard work. You might have the blessed with lots of talents, you might even have the opportunity, but if you don't put in hard work, it's as good as you don't have that any of these things. To give you a classic example, I don't know how many people know Vinod Kambli. He was a great cricketer. He was blessed with cricketing talent. He and Sachin Tendulkar started their journey as a cricketers together from school days. They were best of friends. In fact, Kambli had a better cricketing mind, better cricketing talent. And they, they both were blessed with the same aptitude, and they were given the same opportunity. But the result was different after 20 years, because one put in lots of hard work and the other didn't, was not disciplined enough to put that hard work. And we know what the result is. We can give so many examples. One more to go is the people who follow football. We all know Ronaldinho as a Brazilian player. He's a magician in the field. That was his talent. And you were at this opportunity. You were selected for the Brazil team. You won the World Cup also once. But after that, what happened? Then success gets into your mind and you become indisciplined. Then you fizzle out completely. So it's extremely important to align these three things: aptitude, opportunity, and hard work. All this will lead you to become an expert. How do you define an expert? It's like doing the same thing for at least 10,000 times actually doesn't make you an expert. It only qualifies you to becoming an expert. That's the definition for becoming an expert. So that much of efforts has to go into it. We all see like so many examples. Let me give you some positive examples also. Usain Bolt, in his entire career, he would have not run more than 10 minutes on the field, but he made around $135 million on that. He is the fastest man in the world, the universe. But how many people know what happened behind those 10 minutes of running on the stage? How many hours of hard work he has put in? More than 10,000 hours he would have run. Same thing. Another interesting insight on Sachin Tendulkar's interview. I was just recently watching that. There was a India-Pakistan World Cup match, and Sachin hits a six on Shoaib Akhtar's ball. So the interviewer asked Sachin, "Tell me, Sachin. So one is it's a high intensity game. One is a World Cup game. There's so much of stress around that. On top of that, it's an India-Pakistan match. You can understand, the stress levels. And third is you're facing Shoaib Akhtar. He was bowling at 150 miles per hour, and you are hitting a six. How does this work?" And for that, Sachin told him, actually, if you look at when the ball comes at 150 miles per hour, you hardly get only 10, less than 10 seconds to read the ball, to see the ball, to read the ball. So consciously, you cannot even think about where to hit the ball, how to hit the ball. You cannot even plan your strokes. So what I used to do is I used to practice the same thing with my bowling machines, same speed, and practice so hard it gets into my subconscious mind what kind of shot to be played for a ball of that kind. So I cannot even consciously do that. So to get into the subconscious level, so much of you know work has to be put on that. Last week, not last week, a couple of months back, I at Bangalore, I was attending one of the event where SP Balasubramanian was the chief guest for that, and I was on the audience side. So he narrated very beautiful incident. So he was saying that when during his early career days, where he used to sing Bollywood songs along with Lata Mangeshkar ji, Lata ji. Lata ji is the known as the Nightingale of India. So every time they go before the said event, Lataji used to call SPB for the practice, for the rehearsal at Bombay. So she has to, this I'm talking in the 1980s, where going by flight is a very rare thing. It's a very big thing. Staying in a hotel, five-star hotel is another big thing. So before every orchestra, every event, Lataji used to call SPB for the rehearsal one day. So he'll be flown from Chennai to Bombay, put it in a hotel, practice the whole day, and he comes back, and then they go for the event. And after 5 or 6, after 20 events, even for the 21st event, she used to do the same thing. So SPB went and asked Lataji, I really want to understand, why do we want to waste our money like this? You were calling me, you're flying me from Chennai to Bombay, hotel expenses. Because I know the same set of songs. If they're going to sing 20 songs, the same. Not even the order changes. Order of the songs doesn't change. So same songs, same artist. You and I know the song very well. Why is it that you want to call for a rehearsal? And for that, Lataji answered, so that we make our mistakes confidently, SPB. That's why. Even for the legends, they practice so hard. So with this, we move to the next one. So this is the one part of the story, which one part of the session which comes to an end on the soft skills. So how much first to identify ourselves and becoming an expert in our own fields. And the second part is we now got to align our skills, the soft skills, to the hard skills, which is in demand. Because we need a platform to exhibit. And if you don't do that, then also there will be a mismatch in that. Today, as a recruiter, I've evolved. Recruitment is my passion. Yes, that's my skill set. But for what am I doing? If I want to do it for industry which is not that in demand, again, I'll become complacent. I'll not get the best out of myself. So it's extremely important to align myself with the hard skills. What is it? And today, what is the demand now? Every industry is going through change. It's evolving. Within the automotive context, I'm going to talk to you more on the industrial side of the business. The buzzwords are these: connected vehicles, Industry 4.0, M2M, machine-to-machine things, IIoT, Industrial Internet of Things, artificial intelligence and AML, RPA, what we call as robotic process automation, where manufacturing of drones, the stuff, electric mobility, telematics, aerospace is again a sunrise sector, magnets, power electronics, aerodynamics, advanced aerodynamics, corrosion, augmented reality, EMS, electronic manufacturing systems, 3D printing, battery management system, and so forth. It's only a representative list of things which is in demand today with respect to the industrial side of the business. To give you some specific examples, I do work currently. I'm working with uh, world's fourth largest two-wheeler company, our own homegrown company, TVS Motors. I work with their advanced research group. The gentleman who heads this one, Mr. Dinagar, Jabez Dinagar, if you want to meet him and talk to him for 1 hour, all you got to do is do a discussion for 1 hour. It will be like you finished a course of a 2 years course on any of the subject which he talks on the connected vehicles or on the batteries or any of these things. So that's his knowledge potential. And he gave me a assignment to find a person who can help him on the connected vehicles. Yeah. And for that search, all these searches come at a global level. We don't find this talent in the country today, unfortunately. We we don't find Indians in India for these kind of talents. So we have to find the Indians outside for the same domains. So it was a 6 months project we had to find, because these are the people who don't even post their identity on LinkedIn or on a Naukri.com or anything. So we have to work very closely, very differently to find this talent. That is why our job is is in demand. So we need to find people from countries like US, Sweden, yeah, and we found a person, who was working for Tesla Labs, who was working on this, an Indian who was working this. Otherwise, it becomes extremely difficult to sell it to a foreign national, because for him I have to sell for India first, and then south of India, and then TVS, and then comes the role and responsibility. So it becomes all the more. So such is the demand for for these kind of disciplines. And once you find those people, and how are they taken care of, TVS will go out of the way to accommodate him. Yeah, which is unheard of in the history of TVS Motors. Like even paying a joining bonus, even before he could join, he's paid money, because the scarcity of talent is so high in such disciplines. Another thing goes with, I also work with Jacques Technology Center. Yeah. And they work on advanced projects like the power electronics, aerodynamics, corrosion resistant, where these things are not even come out. The technology has not come today, but they're working on that, which is the future one. And to find these people, there is no straight away. We cannot hire from someone from, say, ABB or any other company from their competitors, because these advanced scientists are on these fields are working in some labs or associated with any of the institutes doing their project. So such is the the gaps in the availability of talent in these cases. Recently, even situations like COVID-19 today, what we are going through, there is a buzz around, not enough jobs, the mobility space, or the things are not moving, the economy is stalled, so many things. Even during these adverse times, there are companies, for example, electric mobility. I was talking to one of the CEOs of the electric mobile company, which I don't want to name it at this point of time for confidential reasons. So, and they was given me a search to find the head of R&D for his company today. So where is the recession for them? You talk to them, they say that, my company is going on full fledged. There's another firm in Coimbatore itself, is working on electric mobility. So this is where there is so much of demand which is happening. So it's all about how are we aligning our personal inherent strengths with the right sector. It's all about being at the right place at the right time. Take it forward. While this is confined only more towards the mechanical engineering side, there are other skill sets which are in demand, are the fintech, the e-commerce sectors, the cyber security, blockchain, data science, gaming, SaaS, enterprise product version, the digital, the technology, health tech, edu tech, logistics, travel and mobility. So these are some of the areas where there's lots of demand is happening. And with this, I want to conclude my speech. I'm sure I gave you some perspective to what's happening around the world. To summarize whatever I told now. The first step, do a SWOT analysis on yourself. Find your strength, weakness, opportunities, threats, and create your own USP, unique selling proposition of yourself. Create your identity for yourself. Then align your passion with the sectors in demand. Work on holistic growth. At the end of the day, it's not only the knowledge or the mental ability, it's also about your physical, your emotional, mental, psychological, spiritual. Each word by itself is a subject on its own, which I don't want to get into it at this point of time. I would also suggest a couple of books to be read. The Power of the Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. I suggest that everyone should read this. It's a must read. The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. The last, I want to leave it with these thoughts. Enrich your thoughts. Thoughts define your destiny. Otherwise, in Tamil, we very beautifully say, Ennam pol வாழ்க்கை. I want to conclude with these thoughts. Knowingly or unknowingly, in the corporate world, the moment you step into it, it's like catching the tiger by its tail. That is a phrase we use. Once we do that, we have to run to the pace of the tiger. And if we don't do it, the tiger will eat us up. Yeah. But if we align ourselves to our strengths, the same running along with the tiger becomes more fun, and you'll enjoy that. Yeah. Enjoy the road ahead. Thank you so much. Any questions? I'll be happy to answer. Yeah, thanks, Tamil Selvam. Your question is, what are the soft skills needed for electronic students? See, the soft skills are nothing, whatever I discussed is nothing specific to any specific discipline. Soft skills are, it's more generalistic, whether you do electronics or you are a mechanical engineer student, it doesn't matter. As long as, whatever, the way I referred soft skills is, you have to put the same hard work, whichever discipline it is. Whatever functions you choose, be it HR or based on your inherent strengths. Yeah. If you're a people-oriented person, you're taking HR as your discipline. And for that HR, you can work in an electronics industry or a mechanical industry or an automotive industry. It doesn't matter. Yeah. So soft skills are very generic. So it is not confined to a particular sector or an industry domain. Your interest, opportunity, and hard work, as a three basic things still lies the same, irrespective of the discipline that you choose. I hope I answered your question. It's a good question you asked, Krishna, because today, for some reason, when I was talking to the industry CEOs, your question is there any specific courses available for augmented reality and 3D printing? Well, I'm not the expert to talk on that, whether it's there or not, but all I can say is there is a huge gap there's a talent gap in the industry. The industry feels that the students are not industry ready, you know. That is where the whole gap is there. Recently, I wrote an article on electric vehicles. You know. So I was talking to some of the industry leaders in this electric vehicles. So one of the concerns they expressed is, you know, they don't get the right kind of people. The maybe this is a message for the colleges itself to create such kind of programs or fine tune their course curriculum to suit to the current needs of the industry. They have to work very closely with the industries itself, because the industry always feels the shortage of people, especially in these kind of things, augmented reality, 3D printing, electric vehicles. You know, they don't get the people don't come ready made, so they have to train them again from the scratch. So while I know I'm not able to answer you exactly whether the courses are not there or not, and I'm not the right person to do it. How can we create opportunities to rural communities to compete with urban students? See, today, as I told you, you know, as long as we can solve a problem, it's the region doesn't going to become your constraint. Your question is whether people in the rural areas, whether they'll get enough opportunities or compete against the urban people. You know, it's not like that. You know, today the paradigm is changing. Actually, you know, we there are times where people from certain specific, yeah, yeah,
No
Kirti,
duty
please.
is more urgent than that of returning thanks. So I express my heartfelt thanks to Mr. John Irudayaraj for the wonderful and informative session. I hope this webinar would definitely be useful, and all the participants, I thank you very much for their listening. Kindly fill the feedback form which is available in the scrolling to get your e-certificate. And my sincere thanks to our management, principal, vice principal, deans and HODs of various departments, faculty, friends and students and Infonus team for their great support. Thank you one and all.
Thank you.